Hello everyone, and welcome to Pros and Cons of the video game The Wolf and the Warren on Not Now Mom, I'm Gaming. These are short videos featuring gameplay clips or screenshots so as not to show too much in the spoiler department. Links to this review are in the description below. This is a not safe for work game, so there's not going to be a whole lot of screenshots shown for obvious reasons. Let the reviewing begin. Pros. Grayscale and color. I really like the duology of grayscale and color in the scenes. Normally the environment is going to be in grayscale, while the character sprites that show up when they're talking are in color. I'd like to say that the grayscale artwork does nothing to deter me from the scenes that are happening. Sam is jacked. If you like your female wolf furries to have some muscles on them, then by golly you're going to enjoy Sam. Although, I don't really know why she's so jacked, as there's no reference to her lifting weights, but she does mention her job, which is writing erotic novels. That's a lot of muscles for writing adult books. Then again, maybe she did have weights in her room, I just didn't notice it. Cons. Kylie's speech is slow-paced. I wasn't sure at first if she had a stutter to her since she was tripping over her words, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. It's more like she's very timid and doesn't know how to interact with Sam, who she seems to like a lot. But having to constantly see so many periods and ellipses in between her words, and the way she stutters over so many can get really annoying really fast. Don't get me wrong, I know people have speech impediments, and those people can become characters in a game or a book at any time. But having to see it over and over or hear it over and over can turn people away from finishing. I read books with someone with a stutter every time they spoke, and it just frustrated me to get through. Say they have a stutter. Describe it at times. Even have them use it sometimes, but you don't have to throw it into every sentence, even though it's how they talk. Rant done. Scene interaction not obvious. This game has you click on certain objects in order to progress forward, and the first scene this comes into play is simple enough to understand. You have to turn the car's key, and the key is of a lighter color than the environment, making it stand out so you know. Unfortunately, that's not the case with every other item you have to interact with. And when you're so focused on the story itself and reading what characters are doing, thinking, saying, it's kind of hard to remember to interact with anything, and so you click and click and click while realizing the text isn't changing. Meaning you have to click on the object the text is referring to. If you're going to do this, just make it more obvious and less intrusive. Spelling and punctuation. This had to be the worst part of the game. Spelling mistakes were literally everywhere. Punctuation was also bad. You can tell the developer wasn't English and didn't get anyone to proofread because it's all a hot mess. Honestly, because the game's focal point is pretty darn good when it got to it, this didn't bother me as much. But if it were any other visual novel I was trying to read, it needed help. No full screen option. Nope, it's a windowed screen, but you can click on the button to make it fit the screen. You'll just have to deal with the bars around the window of the game, which isn't so bad, but come on. Long scene transitions. I went through this game twice for Patreon purposes, and normally it's really easy to skip through text that you've already read, but there are so many scene transitions in this game that fast forwarding is a challenge in itself. I mean, they aren't horribly long, but 3 to 5 seconds of waiting for whatever's going to happen next is a bit much for a visual novel game with no animation to it. And that's the end of our pros and cons review of The Wolf and the Warren. Thanks for watching, everyone. And don't get in too much trouble when you say, "Not now, Mom, I'm gaming."